ranked second in Africa for open defecation.
Paris ringleader killed in a raid.
50-kilometer traffic jam on Nairobi-Mombasa Road. Good evening. Welcome to the studios of GBC24 and GTV. It's time to update you on events around our world. I'm Akushika Akwe.
And I'm Conrad Kakraba.
Ghana has been ranked second after Sudan in Africa for open defecation, with 19% of its population resorting to the sanitation practice deemed the riskiest of all. The country has been performing abysmally, with sanitation coverage of only 15%, making the practice of open defecation a key sanitation challenge because people do not have access to key basic facilities.
Meanwhile, it is a basic human right to have access to an improved private toilet facility at home. Truth is, more people have a cell phone rather than a toilet in their homes. And as Ghana joins the world to mark World Toilet Day, attention is drawn to the need for people to own a lavatory in their homes.
I have a loo, you probably do too. But millions the world over do not have access to this necessity, something that many take for granted. This is not just in rural Ghana, but many communities in the urban centers as well, where some have no alternative than to have a bowel movement in the open. Poor sanitation increases the risk of disease and malnutrition, especially for women and children. As a way out, assemblies have resorted to community toilets. But these community toilets are not free. One must pay between 30 pesos and 60 pesos, depending on the paper used. For a piece of toilet roll, it is 70 pesos at some lavatories. It is also a business for private individuals who also offer places of convenience for the urban dwellers.
We are doing our bit to ensure that the community is always kept clean.
They start work at 4:30 in the morning and close at 11 in the evening. But when nature calls and the urge for a bowel movement is at midnight, one may be forced to hold on till dawn when the toilets open. When this becomes impossible, one has no choice than to openly defecate or relieve oneself in a polythene bag.
The public toilets have been identified as a challenge for us not achieving our objective of ensuring the provision of household toilets in our various homes. Therefore, I would rather wish that you support us in encouraging people to begin to construct household toilets in their homes. That's the essence of the World Toilet Day.
On November 19th, the importance of sanitation and good hygiene is celebrated with the 10th anniversary of World Toilet Day, an event set up by the World Toilet Organization in 2001 to raise awareness of the millions of lives lost due to lack of good sanitation. Activities for the 2015 event include a launch of the Sanitation Challenge for Ghana, a contest among MMDAs. Metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies are expected to design effective and innovative strategies to tackle liquid waste by the end of 2018.
Just like eating and sleeping, using the bathroom is a must. However, there are so many houses in Ghana which do not have toilet facilities. In Greater Accra, for example, a good number of houses have no toilets. This is because some landlords built without prioritizing that facility. GBC24 takes a look at some public places of convenience in Accra as the world marks World Toilet Day.
There are so many houses in Ghana which do not have toilet facilities. The Greater Accra region is no exception. Some landlords and landladies have converted toilets into rental accommodation, some of them built without providing toilet facilities. Earlier, the Metropolitan Assembly began the inspection of households and business entities in 3 sub-metros of the AMA on the state of their places of convenience. Our news team went to La, Choko and Jamestown to find out the situation there. At La, only a few houses in the area have toilet facilities and the rest depend on the public places of convenience. One public toilet we got to was in a bad condition. There hasn't been any renovation since it was built. The residents were worried about the place the toilet is sited.
This one there especially is disturbing us a lot. Because one, they sell around, and also our favorite food, they sell our favorite food here. So I will encourage the landlord and the landladies to provide toilets in their house.
If you get out from the toilet too, if you can see the water is not clean.
According to the Director of Public Health of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, Dr. Boateng, it is part of the authority's policy for every landlord or landlady to provide households with toilet facilities.
The policy of the AMA is that every landlord must provide household toilets for his tenants. So you see that every house, before you are even given approval, you have to show your drawings, and the drawings, there must be provision for toilet.
He said, ideally, public toilets are not for residential use, but for visitors and others who find themselves outside their homes and have to attend to nature's call. When the team got to Su, the situation was not different. 90% of the population there had no toilet in their houses, so they all used the public toilet. This time, the toilet was in a good shape and kept clean. At Choko, there were public and private toilets in the community. Mrs. Edwina Van had opened a drinking spot here, but later changed it to a private toilet.
Choko being what they are, whenever you clean it, they will still come and spoil, but we are still trying hard to kind of make the place very neat.
Some of the houses had toilets which were not being used due to water shortage in the area, so majority of them depended on the public toilet.
I'm having a toilet at home, but due to the shortage of water, the water is not flowing since 2 years now, so I used to come to the public toilet.
For many years, we've not had potable water. We always queue at the public toilet, so we are pleading with authorities to provide us with water.
In Jamestown, it was not only a case of not having toilets, but some did not have bathrooms, so they depended on public bathrooms.
I don't have any toilet at home at all, really. I do my everything here.
The bylaws of the AMA indicate that pan latrines had been banned in the metropolis, and people using such facilities will be summoned to court immediately for prosecution. According to Mr. Boateng, an Accra Sewage Improvement Project, which is in collaboration with the Africa Development Bank Fund, is to help provide toilet facilities for households which lack them. He added that it is time we take immediate action to arrest the situation.
So pardon us for not cautioning you earlier about the not too pleasant pictures. For Ghana's beaches to become pristine again, many believe that attitudinal change is top on the to-do list. Driving along most parts of the coast, indiscriminate littering is evident, and the most common of which is plastic, comprising almost 90% of debris at the beach. The experts say this negative practice is robbing the country of the much-needed revenue from the sector, for which reason there is the need for beach restoration and preservation efforts.
Ghana's coastal area is swamped by filth. Many years ago, Ghana's beaches were a nice stretch of sand and sea, and like private paradises waiting to be explored. Today, these same picturesque beaches are packed with heaps of rubbish, washed on and off the shore by the waves. They are also places of convenience for some. Since natural tourist sites such as these are magnets for foreign exchange, many say beach restoration and preservation efforts are a must. A conference in this regard was organized by Save Our Beaches, an organization that seeks to improve coastal environmental conservation. Members living in communities along the coastal areas, as well as chiefs and queen mothers in these communities, were part of deliberations. The Deputy Director of Environment at the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology and Innovation, Mr. Kwamina Kwesen, said the unsightly coastal areas impede efforts aimed at promoting public health and environmental sustainability. He called for an all-hands-on-deck approach in tackling sanitation at the beaches.
What we continue to see at the various beaches is not the best. Government cannot do it all alone. There needs to be an attitudinal change, right from the old to the young. Ghanaians need to change their mindset and attitudes with respect to our beaches.
Mr. Ebo Gate is the Executive Secretary at Save Our Beaches, Ghana.
Part of what we've gathered from other stakeholders' meetings is that people use the beaches for defecation because perhaps in their areas of residence there are no toilet facilities, or perhaps when they get to the beaches and they are forced to answer to the nature's call, there are no toilet facilities.
In a presentation on the state of Ghana's coastal areas, human impacts and management, Mr. Frederick Jonah from the University of Cape Coast Fisheries Department complained about sand winning. He stressed on the need to practice good coastal management practices.
The national executives of the NDC say all supporters across the country must not engage in any activity that has the tendency to disrupt or mar the upcoming parliamentary and presidential elections on Saturday. National Chairman Mr. Kofi Portoffe says this is the only way to consolidate the current peace and unity in the party.
Come Saturday, November 21, a little over 2 million registered supporters of the ruling National Democratic Congress, NDC, will have the opportunity for the first time to elect their preferred candidates themselves. This is an upgrade of the electoral college system, where a selected few vote to choose their leaders to represent the masses. According to the NDC, they are the first in Ghana and the West African sub-region to introduce this system. They add that this will prevent coercion and the selection of wrong candidates. Of the 228 candidates who are contesting, 127 are sitting MPs, 76 MMDEs, with 62 going unopposed. 74 of the total aspirants are females, with 3 physically challenged. Voting will take place in 8,234 polling stations nationwide, excluding 2 constituencies, Chiana Paga and Nkwanta South. According to the ruling party, although President Mahama is standing unopposed, he still needs 50% and more of total votes cast for him to become the party's presidential candidate. At Thursday's news briefing, the General Secretary of the NDC, Mr. Johnson Esiedun Ketia, made known preparations so far.
We have done opening of nominations. We've closed nominations successfully. We've done vetting in all the constituencies. We are through with the compilation and correction of our membership register, which will be used for this purpose as our voters register. Because of the nature of the elections and the nature of our laws, we had to engage the Electoral Commission to also conduct the elections for us.
The national chairman, Mr. Kofi Portoffe, asked the NDC voters to abide by the rules governing the game.
Saturday is a very important day for us, and we would like to call on the members of our party to all show up once you are registered to go and cast your vote. You vote for the parliamentarian of your choice in your constituency, and also vote for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, our sole presidential candidate, to endorse him heavily So other Ghanaians would appreciate the fact that we are united, we support him, and they should join us in that support so we can build this country better. We can transform this country. We should continue to touch the lives of our people.
The party says the climax of the entire process will be at the Efwa Sederland Park, where the president will be endorsed as the party's presidential candidate for 2016. Reporting for GBC24, Gifty G, Accra.
Meanwhile, printing of ballot papers for the NDC parliamentary primaries is underway under the strict supervision of the Electoral Commission in collaboration with security apparatus detailed by the party. In an interview with GBC24, the Director of Elections of the party, Mr. Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, explained that the move is to ensure credibility of the elections. He explains modalities for Saturday's election.
2 ballot boxes will be placed at each of the polling centers. And now we have about over 8,200 and over polling stations in the country now. The total number of aspirants, we have 728 aspirants who are contesting in all the 275 constituencies across the country. Now, the president is a sole candidate, but our constitution demands that whoever becomes the flag bearer of the party, we have to take a vote on him, even though he is a sole candidate, and he has to get 50% plus 1 before he can be declared as the flag bearer of the party. So there will be 2 boxes in each of the polling stations, with the exception of areas where our parliamentary aspirants are unopposed, because the rules for parliamentary aspirants is different from the rules for the presidential aspirants. In the case of the parliamentary aspirant, if he's unopposed, there will be no vote. He's deemed to have been elected because he's unopposed. And so when somebody goes to the voting center, you will first be given the parliamentary ballot paper, and then you go through the process of verification. You'll be given the opportunity to vote. After you finish with the parliamentary, you will then move to the presidential table, where you'll be given the ballot for the presidential aspirant. It is one person, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, but there's a question on the ballot, yes or no. So if you put your thumbprint on yes, then it means that you have endorsed or voted for the president. If you say no, then it means you have voted against. For the Saturday election, the time has been shifted, and now we will start the process 7, and it will end 5 p.m. in the evening.
Ahead of the end of year activities, the Ghana Police Service is embarking on an exercise in Accra known as Operation Father Christmas. The law enforcers say this is to send strong signals to criminals that the police will clamp down on any unlawful act, especially during the festive season, and there will be visible and strategic policing nationwide to ensure that everyone is safe.
There is often an upsurge in criminal activity during the end-of-year festivities. And as the days wear on towards that time of the year, the police in 2010 launched a program dubbed Operation Father Christmas. Operation Father Christmas is a security campaign to clamp down on criminal activities during the period. As a build-up, the police has organized confidence-building patrols in the form of a route march in Accra. The Greater Accra Regional Police Commander and officer in charge of the operation, DCOP Christian Teteyewonu, assured of the readiness of his men.
We want to show force against criminals who may like to disturb the good people of this country, especially as we are getting towards Christmas. So we are showing that we are ever prepared to deal with them, whatever they are, We have another larger number of the people who are already on the field. They are mopping up every location of the hideouts of the criminals. And so it is a collective work. We want to tell you that we are strong. We have strong men and women who are ever prepared to defend Ghanaians, especially, and prepare them towards Christmas.
Police personnel have been deployed across the country. Officers and men from all units and departments at the headquarters in Accra took part in the operation.
A 5-year quality improvement in basic schools (QUIBS) project has been launched in the Esutify North and Tano North districts of the Bunahafo region. At one event at Ntotoroso, the wife of the Vice President, Mrs. Matilda Emisa Arthur, commended the Newmont Anafo Development Foundation, the initiators of the project, for helping to improve the quality of basic school education in the country. Theodora Amedeto reports.
Newmont officials, Newmont Ahafo Development Foundation, NADEF executives, Esutify North and Tano North District Education Directorate, district assemblies and other potential partners signed a partnership agreement to start the quality improvement in basic schools (QUIBS) project. QUIBS, an initiative of the Newmont Ahafo Development Foundation, NADEF, is a 5-year project to effect an improvement in the quality of basic school education in the 10 Newmont Ahafo mine communities by the end of 2020. 41 public schools are targeted to capital injection to improve infrastructure. The general manager of Newmont Ahafo Mine, Mr. Joeb Kwenen, said Newmont would always be a partner in development.
Investing in human resource development is one of the greatest sustainable legacies that the Ahafo Mine can leave in their communities even after the life of the mine. I am proud to recount that the largest chunk of the $1 per ounce of gold that we mine and the 1% of our annual profit is dedicated to human resource development.
The wife of the Vice President, Mrs. Matilda Emisa Arthur, said Goal 4 of the Sustainable Development Goals, which is to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all by 2030, is at the heart of everything.
Education for me is everything. It opens the door to a whole new world for people to move onto various ladders in their lives. Most of the time, when we talk about quality education, we only think about classrooms, teachers books, science labs. But one of the key activities in the QUIBS project is the promotion of reading by encouraging the use of libraries.
The manhin of Ntotoroso, Berima Chreku Apem, and all gathered commended the opportunity to improve education in the area and pledged to support a successful initiative. Theodora Amedeto, GBC24, Kenyasi.
We'll be back to continue with the package.
Good evening, you're welcome to the world of business. My name is Esther Adu. Players in the West African real estate sector are recommending dual currency financing to deal with the effects of currency volatilities on estate developers and customers. The cost of financing real estate projects skyrockets whenever there is depreciation of the local currency in most West African countries. Experts believe a combination of both foreign and local funding will reduce the shocks.
Although demand for accommodation is high, supply is short due to several reasons, including the lack of construction financing. Although Ghana and the entire West African region has not explored to the fullest potentials in the real estate sector, cost of finance, which is mostly sourced in foreign currency, is a disincentive to most estate developers. At the West African Property Summit in Accra, experts recommended dual currency financing as the way out.
Shock that has occurred in those economies or in those currencies has led to significant shock in how projects are funded, largely because a number of the international projects are funded with foreign currency, generally speaking US dollars. the way to stabilize, of course, if they are funded in local currency, they will be less susceptible to those shocks. However, the local currency rates are extremely high, and if you apply them to many projects, most of the projects will be unbankable or unfeasible at the start. So what we've thought about as an alternative is some dual currency financing structure that mixes both the foreign currency and some element of the local currency where the rates permit.
The chief executive of ATT Africa, property investment specialist, expressed worry about the inability of Ghanaian banks to finance huge infrastructure projects in the country.
The problem with Ghana is the local banks haven't got the capacity to do it locally. So what we try to do is to bring in international banks, and then for the international banks to partner with local banks as well, so that the local banks can participate.
The managing partner of Latitude 5, an Ivorian real estate developer, believes the real estate sector needs technical expertise upgrade.
It's more a question of expertise and know-how than an actual underlying issue of the currency or reglementation or regulation and so on. So that's what's going on.
The West African Property Summit aims to introduce players to alternative financing with the aim of narrowing the housing deficit in the sub-region.
5 years since Ghana discovered oil, and for most Ghanaians, the benefits are not evident enough. This was among a number of issues discussed at a forum organized by the second-year School of Graduate Studies in Petroleum Accounting and Finance of the University of Professional Studies, UPS. It was in collaboration with Africa Center for Energy Policy, ACEP.
Ghana's oil find dates back many years, but active efforts to prospect for the black gold commenced during the PNC administration. Crude was struck in commercial quantities during the MPP era, but the first commercial lifting took place during the NDC administration. Presently, the country continues to see growth in crude oil production and new discoveries. A seminar held by the second-year School of Graduate Studies in Petroleum Accounting and Finance of the University of Professional Studies in collaboration with the Africa Center for Energy Policy discussed how companies gained access to the oil find at the Jubilee fields and how proceeds accrued are being handled by government. The head of upstream at the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum, Mr. George Mensah Oakley, shed light on government engagement with investors at the oil field. Dr. Ishmael Aka of the Africa Center for Energy Policy bemoaned how the proceeds have been handled so far.
The essence of the petroleum revenue, the oil money, is to 1, maximize Ghana's rate of economic development, and 2, promote equal and balanced development of all regions. So we are looking at maximizing the rate of economic development with the oil money, and this is in line with Ghana's medium-term agenda.
The Pro-Vice Chancellor of the University of Professional Studies, Dr. Abednego Amate, spoke about the essence of the seminar.
We believe in collaborating with industry. Our mission statement demands that we don't just focus on scholarship, we also have to engage industry. So these are the things that we do to ensure that society benefits from the very things that we learn in class. And of course, now talking about oil and gas, one of the topical issues, you hear the debate about are we benefiting, are we not benefiting? So the essence is to bring the stakeholders together, have the resource persons, and let's see what the pros and cons are.
The program was put together by the second-year MBA Accounting and Finance class of the University of Professional Studies.
To ensure proper quality control of exports to Africa, the Chinese government is tightening measures already in place. China's Ministry of Commerce has therefore set up an inspection bureau administration to weed out manufacturers of substandard products and retailers who export such products to Africa.
Statistics from China's Ministry of Commerce show that China's global export volume stands at $106.2 billion as against imports of $115.8 billion. For many years, China has built on its trade relationship with most countries across the globe. Angola, South Africa, Nigeria and Ghana are among countries that largely patronize products from China. In West Africa, the volume of trade between Nigeria and China stands at $18 billion. Ghana's trade volume with China is $5.5 billion, and China hopes to increase the volumes by cooperating and supporting industries to manufacture the products locally. The Director General of the Western Asia and African Affairs of China's Ministry of Commerce, Madame Zhong Manying, says China's export to Africa has increased from $16.2 billion to $115.8 billion over the years. This, she says, has resulted in a number of trade imbalances between China and Africa. A major challenge that the Chinese government has had to contend with is a huge export of substandard goods to Africa. Madame Manying agrees that the problem is affecting China's reputation as a world's top manufacturer of high-quality products. For proper quality control, the Chinese government has set up a National Inspection Bureau administration to check goods that are produced for the African market. China has also signed a bilateral quality inspection control agreement with the trade partners in Africa. A trade summit scheduled to be held in South Africa in December is expected to address the issue.
Let's see how the cedi performed on the interbank market today. The commodity figures come up next. The business news was brought to you by EcoBank, Hisense and Airtel. Have a good evening.
The health segment is brought to you by FPAC. FPAC blows your pain away. Though the target of the Millennium Development Goals 4 and 5 were not fully met, public education on supporting women and children's health care is ongoing. A community health care meeting held in Accra highlighted the need to educate men on how to give proper care to pregnant women and deal with cultural barriers that prevent them from seeking health care.
Reducing newborn, child and maternal mortality is the target set by the United Nations to improve healthcare delivery globally. Yet, factors such as cultural barriers prevent women from seeking proper healthcare. Some of the common practices include not disclosing a pregnancy for months, visiting a traditional healer instead of a health worker throughout pregnancy, and delivering without a skilled attendant. The meeting revealed that some husbands dissuade their pregnant wives from seeking proper health care. It is for this reason that a program has been designed to target not only women, but the key influencers in their lives.
Previously, once the woman is pregnant, it is left to the woman to carry the pregnancy until delivery. But we realize that the lack of men supporting pregnant women has not been good. So that needs to be corrected. And that's why we are making every effort now to make sure that men get involved.
The education and messages are related to healthier pregnancies, childbirth and newborn care. Dubbed Community Benefits Health, the program aims at encouraging pregnant women to make 4 antenatal care visits, deliver at health care facilities, ensure post-delivery checks for mother and baby, and early exclusive breastfeeding. The program, which is funded by the Bill and Belinda Gates Foundation, targets the rural communities that have the country's highest birth rates for pregnant women and newborns. It has already started in the Upper West region.
We need innovative ways to try and improve maternal, newborn and child health. That is why this project is key, because it's constantly exploring new ways. What can we do differently? Can we do uniquely? So we are thinking, okay, can we provide a whole community with an incentive to say, okay, if you do ABCD, around MSCH behaviors, if you go for A and C when you are pregnant in the first 3 months, we will give the whole community a borehole, or we'll give the whole community an emergency ambulance. If that can change MSCH behaviors, why not?
The Community Benefit Health, we started last year, is making progress. Now, there is growing involvement and support among men, including chiefs and husbands.
The Accra Psychiatric Hospital has received the keys to 2 newly refurbished dormitories. The gesture, by kind courtesy of the National Investment Bank, is to boost quality service delivery at the hospital and also provide comfort for patients.
The Accra Psychiatric Hospital, established in the year 1906, is responsible for the treatment, welfare, training and rehabilitation of mentally ill patients. However, facilities at the hospital are overstretched due to increasing demands. The admission wards and dormitories for the patients have been in a bad state for years now. To make the hospital attractive and more comfortable for patients and health personnel, the National Investment Bank, NIB, as part of its social responsibility, has refurbished 2 of the male dormitories at the hospital. The refurbishment, which took 3 months to complete, is estimated at a cost of 150,000 Ghana cedis. The General Manager of Operations and Technology at NIB, Mr. Martin Amenyeji, inaugurated the dormitories.
As part of our social responsibility, we have identified these 2 dormitories which has been refurbished, at least to give some comfort to our brothers who are domiciled here.
The administrators and nurses at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital expressed their gratitude for the gesture. They assured the staff of NIB that the facilities will be maintained.
41-year-old Miss Esther Amewu is suffering from a chronic condition of the left upper jaw. The doctors say Esther must undergo 6 cycles of treatment, each costing 3,000 cedis before corrective surgery, possibly next month. Viewer discretion is advised.
Madame Esther Amewu is a trader and a mother of 2. 4 years ago, she had a tooth extracted. Following the extraction, she had a swelling on her left cheek which had to be drained of fluid intermittently for a period of time. Over time, her left upper jaw got swollen, coupled with weight loss and symptoms of anemia. Esther is scheduled to undergo chemotherapy 6 times, after which she would have radiation therapy. She is required to pay 3,000 cedis for 1 cycle of treatment. In addition, she will have antibiotics or blood component transfusion. The surgery will be performed on completion of her therapy. Madame Esther Amewu is appealing to all for financial support. The surgery is scheduled for next month. Any amount could be paid into the Ghana Commercial Bank KGB branch, account number 506-101-000-9143, or call telephone numbers 0206-497-820 or 0262-542-955.
The segment was brought to you by FBAC. FBAC blows your pain away.
In other news, the suspected Islamic State mastermind of the Paris attacks was among those killed in a police raid north of the capital. France confirmed this on Thursday, bringing an end to the hunt for Europe's most wanted man. Authorities said they had identified the corpse of Belgian national Abdelhamid Aboud from fingerprints in the aftermath of Wednesday's raid, in which at least 2 people died, including a female suicide bomber, after a gun battle with police. The prosecutor later added that it was unclear whether he had detonated a suicide belt. Aboud was accused of orchestrating last Friday's coordinated bombings and shootings in the French capital, which killed 129 people. 7 assailants died in the attack, and a suspected 8th is still on the run. Kenyan police have been deployed to ease a traffic jam reportedly stretching for 50 kilometers on the highway between Mombasa and Nairobi. The road is crucial for East Africa's economy as it links the port of Mombasa to landlocked countries such as Uganda, South Sudan and Rwanda. The worst affected area is around Taru, about 80 kilometers from Mombasa. The jam has been caused by repairs to the road following heavy rains. Traffic jams are common in Kenya and are often caused by its badly maintained road network. But this is said to be the worst for several years. More than 1,500 trucks have been stuck. Some motorists have been stuck in the countryside, miles from the nearest shop, since the jam began on Tuesday evening. Some trucks that tried to turn off the single carriageway into the scrub land alongside have become stuck in the mud. Sports is next.
It's brought to you by Tobinco Pharmaceuticals, producers of Lunat. Black Stars captain Asamoah Gyan says he will be hosting the gold-winning Black Queens at his $1 million plush residence this weekend. The meeting is to honor them for winning the ultimate at the 11th edition of the All Africa Games in Brazzaville, Congo.
In September this year, Black Stars captain Asamoah Gyan met with the women's team in Congo whilst he was with the Black Stars for a friendly match against Congo. It was during the meeting that Gyan donated $10,000 to the team and promised a bigger reward should the team win gold at the 11th edition of the All Africa Games. The Queens, by dint of hard work, beat Cameroon, who had been their nemesis for a while, in the finals to clinch a first ever gold medal in the history of the Games. Back from China, the Stars captain says he's going to fulfill his promise on Sunday.
Yeah, definitely. It's a promise that I made to the Black Queens, so definitely they'll be attending my birthday party, so I need to fulfill my promise.
The meeting at the Basilica de Baby Jet residence coincides with his 30th birthday celebrations.
Black Stars coach Avram Grant says there is more room for improvement by his charges despite their 2-0 win over Comoros Island in the 2018 World Cup qualifier on Tuesday. Speaking to GBC24 in Kumasi, Coach Grant said Comoros was a difficult nut to crack.
I think it was not easy game. The opponents played very well, Comoros played very well, they defend very well. It was not easy to break them. They play tactically good, they mark almost all our players, but we create enough chances to win the game, and we won the game. That's what's important. So we'll go to the World Cup and go to the Africa Cup. It will not be easy. You saw today it was not easy game, so it will not be easy, but we have the quality to do it.
The president of the Ghana Football Association, GFA, Mr. Kwesi Nyantakyi, has picked the chairman of the Black Stars Management Committee, Mr. George Efriye, as his new vice president. Mr. Efriye's tenure of office is 4 years. The president of the GFA, Kwesi Nyantakyi, on Thursday named George Efriye as his vice president for the next 4 years. He takes over from Mr. Fred Krentel. This follows the first meeting of the newly formed executive committee to discuss the direction of Ghana football. Efriye, 45, was named by the GFA president in accordance with Article 30.3 of the First Amendment of the GFA statutes, passed by Congress on December 30, 2014, which states that, quote, at the maiden meeting of the Executive Committee, the President shall appoint from the membership of the Executive the Vice President of the GFA and 3 other members who shall, together with the President, form the 5 members of the Emergency Committee, unquote. The newly named GFA Vice President has vast experience in football administration in Ghana after serving in various leadership positions with several clubs in the country, including Swedru All Blacks, Accra Great Olympics and Liberty Professionals. He has also worked with the various national teams in leadership positions. Efriye is the current chairman of the Black Stars Management Committee. He served as the Management Committee chairman for the Black Meteors and the Black Satellites and worked on the Premier League board and the Division 1 League Board. He is a current member of the CAF Marketing and TV Rights Committee. Meanwhile, Eddie Doku, Nanabein Benjamin Eisen and Kwekueya have been named to serve on the Emergency Committee. They will join Kwesi Nyantichi and George Efriye to serve on the 5-man body. Our sports.
Segments of the news. My name is Micheline Tucker. On our Throwback Thursday, we take a look at some past and present videos of some Ghanaian female gospel musicians.